Thanks for joining us in this video from Irwindale Public Library, where we will be talking about self-care for young adults. Self-care is not about bubble baths or face masks, though that can be a part of a self-care routine. Self-care is about caring for the entire self or the whole person. True self-care is about meeting our needs for the 5 aspects of health. We have our physical health, which is the care of our bodies, such as eating well, sleeping, exercising, our hygiene. Our emotional health, which is how we think and feel, and our sense of well-being. It's also the way we acknowledge our emotions and the emotions of others. Our social health is our ability to form satisfying relationships with others and to act appropriately in a variety of social situations or settings. And spiritual health is our self-defined purpose or meaning in life, how we see the world, our beliefs, or practices that bring us to a transcendent or an elevated state of mind. This may seem like an overload or too many different aspects to consider in regards to health, but it's totally possible to find our balance and meet our self-care needs without feeling overwhelmed or spending hours and hours of our time. When we're not meeting our 5 aspects of health, we can become unbalanced in one or more areas, creating unhappiness or a sense of unease. And we may not realize why we feel unhappy, but if we look at the aspects of health and see where we have been neglectful, we may find an area that we can work on to feel better. Most of us know what we need to do to take care of our physical health, but we are either inconsistent in our habits, or we regularly don't do things that make us feel better, or we do things that make us feel worse. How are you doing on these aspects of self-care? Do you eat foods that give you energy and boost your mood, or do your eating habits make you feel sluggish? Do you drink enough water? Most of us don't drink enough water. If you try to slowly increase your intake of water, you can start with tracking just 8 cups a day, which is really not that much. You can drink 2 to 4 cups of water within 30 minutes of waking, because your body is very dehydrated when you first wake up, as you haven't had any food or any water for several hours. Are you getting enough sleep? And how much sleep do you need to feel rested? 6 to 8 hours is average, but you could need more, you could need less. Are you sleeping too much, or do you have a sleep routine that's all over the place? You go to bed at 2 a.m. one night and 10 p.m. the next night. Regularly doing this can really throw off your sleep routine. And what is your hygiene routine? Are you taking care of your skin and your hair? You can have simple routines, just lotion and sunscreen, and adding in any products that make you feel like your best self. Other parts of self-care include going to the doctor yearly, or when you feel unwell, going to the dentist, the eye doctor, making sure that you take any prescribed medication if you have any. That's also important. Sometimes we neglect getting medical help when we really need it, and this can have negative consequences on our quality of life. If you need help sticking to habits or creating new ones, you can try watching our time management video where we talk about goal setting, and we also have a video about meal planning that can help you if you're struggling with eating habits. Exercise is another important part of physical self-care. Exercising regularly can help boost your emotions for the long term. When you exercise one day, you actually feel the positive benefits the next day, and the more regularly you exercise, the more your emotions get a boost. Exercise release endorphins, and regular exercise can help with negative feelings. If you are a reluctant exerciser, there's definitely something for you. Practice the idea of pairing. You can combine exercise with something you already do. Try watching TV while you're on an exercise bike or walking in place. There are also couch workout videos or a variety of things you can find on YouTube. Listen to a podcast and motivating music while you exercise. If you really feel like you hate exercise, you just haven't found the right form of exercise for you. And remember, any type of exercise is better than no exercise at all. And even exercising just 7 minutes a day is better than nothing. Try the 7-minute workout. This is a great workout, easy for everybody, and there's actually several apps for this one. Emotional self-care can be seen at the basic level of being in tune and in control of your feelings. It's actually really easy to be unaware of what we are actually feeling moment by moment if we don't regularly tune in to where we are emotionally. Can you identify, using 1 to 3 words, different emotions you have felt today? It can also help if you understand the whys behind your emotions. You will not always know why you feel a certain way, but the more often you work on noticing the why behind an emotion, the better you will get at this and the more in tune with yourself you will become. We also want to honor our feelings, meaning that we acknowledge them, we don't try to push them away or ignore them, even if they are negative emotions. How do you process and address your negative emotions? If you don't think you have healthy ways of experiencing your emotions, this can be something that you can research and work on. And a great way to boost your emotional self-care is to monitor your thoughts. We all use self-talk. This is the way that we think about ourselves and the way that we talk to ourselves in our mind. When we spend a lot of time being internally hard on ourselves or just being generally negative, we're stunting ourselves emotionally. Negative self-perceptions, negative self-talk can also be seen as the limitations we put on ourselves and our minds. We think that we can't do, have, be the things that we want, and this stops us from trying. By being more mindful of our thoughts, something that's really simple, and speaking to ourselves kindly and addressing limiting beliefs, we can improve our emotional self-care exponentially. You can practice weekly journaling, times of introspection, where you think about yourself, your experiences, and you self-assess. You can spend time in reflection. This helps us connect more to the emotional parts of ourselves. It can also help if you learn more about psychology and human behavior, especially in the areas that you struggle with. If you struggle with a lot of anger or judgmental thoughts, are there any helpful things in psychology that you can use to grow? Social self-care is about our relationships with others. This can be our family, our friends, romantic relationships, work. Are we able to form satisfying relationship with others where both people engage in positive communication habits and treatment? It's not always possible to have a good relationship with everyone in our life, and that's actually okay. Sometimes we can't have a positive relationship with family members or others that we would like to. And when this happens, you can work on accepting the level of relationship that is possible with this person or not having a relationship with them at all. We really only need one meaningful relationship in our lives to be happy. It's nice to have several close friendships or relationships, but we also don't have to do this. A close relationship also does not need to be a romantic relationship or even someone that you see all the time. It can be a family member, a friend, or someone who just supports you and that you support in return. COVID has been hard on a lot of relationships, and you may have lost some relationships due to the strain or difficulty of seeing others, and it's okay if you feel that your relationships are lacking. This doesn't mean that you can't form a satisfying relationship in the future, and you're not the only one if you feel that you have no close relationships. This is actually a really common and worldwide problem. And with COVID, it can be tricky, but we do think that things will improve. There are virtual ways to connect with others. And remember that if you want to have more relationships in your life, often you need to be proactive in seeking others out. It's a lot easier to create a relationship if you work on actively reaching out to others than if you just wait for others to find you. Simply, you can think about your social self-care in the ways relationships bring you joy or enrichment to your life. When we enjoy spending time with others, whether it's with someone close or someone who's an acquaintance, our social self-care is improved. Intellectual self-care is our ability to learn, have new experiences, and expand our beliefs. It's also about personal development and self-improvement. Even if we are done with school, there's always more for us to learn. And now we can actually choose to learn about things that we're passionate about or things that we're interested in. We can choose to be lifelong learners and commit to growing in our knowledge. When we are not intellectually stimulated, life can feel boring. It's like being stuck in a class that you don't enjoy. When we're actively learning about things that we like, this brings more excitement in our lives. We can choose to learn through a variety of ways. Just a few of them include reading. This could be like books or blogs or the news. We can listen to podcasts, watch movies or documentaries about things that we're interested in. We can also find a community or a person who shares similar intellectual interests that we have. We can choose to teach others and share our own knowledge with them. And what are you interested in? How do you cultivate these interests? Your interests don't have to be scholarly or complicated. Maybe you enjoy a combination of things like true crime podcasts, positive psychology, animals, fashion, anything. These are broad interests that are a range of topics, but they are still intellectually stimulating. You just have to find yours. Spiritual self-care is our last component of health. We can think of this as finding our why in life. What's our purpose or our life mission? What do we hope to accomplish while we are here? Our spiritual beliefs give us answers for the hard things in life, such as suffering, misfortune, and pain. Do we find meaning behind negative things? Even believing that suffering is random is a form of spiritual practice. Whatever your spiritual practice is, if it brings you peace and helps you in your life, then you're on the right path for you. We can also have a faith practice that brings us closer to a higher source. or a higher self or the universe or God. Many people use their higher beliefs to make sense of their life and to guide them in their daily decisions. Our spiritual practice is also our rules for living. What do we value in life? What are our core principles? Things that we think are right or wrong? What do we believe about life? Other ways to think about spirituality are our mind and body connection, our deep awareness of the self. Many people experience this during meditation or practicing mindfulness, which is honing into our five senses and really experiencing who we are. Practicing daily gratitude is another way to bring us to a deeper mindset, as well as a lot of people like to spend time in nature. And the most important thing about spirituality is that you believe something. It's less about what you believe and more about knowing what you believe and consistently living by your beliefs. It's also completely normal to have a spiritual practice that evolves and changes over time. If you want to better improve your self-care habits, you can work on creating a weekly plan of different things that you would like to do to boost your self-care. There are so many small actions that you can take that will positively impact your life. If you feel that you're lacking in a certain area of health, you can research new habits and add some into your life. You may need to remove some current habits that are not working well for you to add in some new practices. You can start slowly and add one new practice a week and note any improvements in your life. Are there things that you want to do every day, a few times a week, maybe once a week? Maybe you want to create a morning and an evening routine to ground your day. This could just be 15 minutes of beneficial actions. In the morning, you could drink water, tidy up your space, practice deep breathing, and stretch. In the evening, you could drink tea, reflect on your day, listen to music, light a candle. It's really whatever you want to do. These actions may not sound appealing to you, so you have to find what suits you best. And that's the end of our video. We hope you enjoyed it and that it gave you some things to think about as you continue on your journey of health and self-care.